Good evening. Super kicking with Stephen fans, your favorite host right here, Stephen A. 1181. That's Stephen A. 1181. Greg's hopefully going to join us when he can, a little bit delayed at his job. So we'll just kind of run the show as we go. And if he joins us, he's able to join us. If not, then we will just catch him next week when we're back at it. So we're going to talk up Halloween Havoc first, kind of get that out of the way for our news and notes. A little bit of news to CM Punk. We'll see if that's anything important. Then we'll get a Raw and SmackDown, then some AEW talk, and wrap up the show. So first things first, we did have NXT's Halloween Havoc last night. I thought a pretty good, solid show all around. Nothing groundbreaking per se. Nobody really showed up that wasn't expected or anything like that. We did have Wes Lee get his first NXT North American title. What kind of a year, past 6-7 months for Wesley, where, loses tag team partner, and, we weren't really sure what he would do, if he would kind of keep going or whatnot, but turned it around, was able to kind of start the ground up and, work his way up, literally up the ladder last night to win the NXT North American title. I think Carmelo Hayes shows up on the main roster soon. I just don't see much more for him to do down there. Oro Mensa put up a pretty good showing. Von Wagner looks like Von Wagner. Nothing really there. Nathan Frazier looked pretty good as well. But I think Carmelo Hayes is definitely due for the main roster. And Wesley, we'll see how he does, with the North American title right now. Apollo Crews defeated Grayson Waller in a casket match. This one was kind of unique where Apollo Crews went through the casket, so he wasn't officially put into the casket. So they kind of reset the match and kept it going. A lot of back and forth. In the end, Grayson Waller ends up in the casket. I think this does mean that Grayson Waller is definitely head to the main roster. I think the rumblings about him maybe being with Bray Wyatt is interesting, and we could kind of see where that goes. So I think that's why, you bury him and then you bring him back in a few weeks or a couple weeks to kind of re-debut on the main roster. So we'll see what happens there. Roxanne Perez defeated Cora Jade. These two ladies have gone back and forth now. They're tied at one apiece. And, I guess we'll see a final match, probably at NXT Deadline, which is in December. I wonder if maybe that might be a loser leaves type match or something like that to kind of get, one woman staying in NXT and then the other woman does move on to the main roster or just kind of, is gone for a little bit. But I think it's all Roxanne getting the upper hand in this. And then when we look later, we saw Mandy Rose defeat Alba Fire. That was a lot of, interference. But I do think Mandy Rose is going to get defeated by Roxanne Perez. Eventually, I think it's all about Roxanne. They're definitely high on her. Dan's got a good comment from the chat here. The name, yep, this is the old WCW pay-per-view, just like War Games will be a pay-per-view kind of stipulation for Survivor Series here in the middle or, November-ish Survivor Series type. So we do get a little bit of WCW love here and there from WWE when it comes to it. So, but Mandy Rose defeated Alba Fire. I think you do one more match between Alba and Mandy Rose where there's no, interference allowed or something like that. Then you let Mandy Rose win that way. But I do think Roxanne Perez is going to beat Mandy Rose down the road. And, we'll see what Roxanne can do with the title like that. And I think that bumps up Toxic Attraction. I think they've done all they can down there. So we'll kind of see them up on the main roster soon. Julius Creed defeated Damon Kemp. Not a lot of surprise here. The stipulation here was if Julius lost, Brutus would be gone from NXT. So there was no doubt that the Creed brothers are going to stay down in NXT for a little bit of time. I think they'd be a good fit for Alpha Academy, though, if you kind of want them to, maybe start a little bit with some good veteran leadership. And, you already have the old school wrestling background that they have and, the Olympic experience type deal. So I'd like to maybe see that type of pairing down the road if we're going to call up the Creed brothers, as well sooner rather than later to the main roster. And finally, we saw Braun Breaker continue his role in NXT as the NXT champion. Right now, it's hard telling who's going to beat him. I just don't know. It didn't feel like either one of these guys were going to do it. So, I guess, Apollo Crews will probably get a couple shots or a shot or two. You wonder if maybe Carmelo Hayes will get a shot. But, right now, I just don't know where Braun goes, if maybe he, just vacates it and moves up maybe Royal Rumble time or something like that. But definitely need to find some contenders for him or, really find a good feud for him because, it's been kind of hit or miss, I think. These two guys, UK guys, I think really stepped up their game for it. But, it's just going to be interesting to see where he goes now. So that's kind of my quick and dirty recap of, NXT UK, or sorry, NXT Halloween Havoc last night. Like I said, the next pay-per-view we'll get will be NXT Deadline, which is in December. I believe that will be kind of the premium live event for WWE when it comes to, December, because right now we're hearing that we'll probably have Survivor Series and then we'll kind of be off with main roster premium live events till Royal Rumble, unless they do, little, maybe kind of a super show here and there or something like that. But that's kind of the big news there for Halloween Havoc. And here's the other big news right now. So AEW is in talks with CM Punk about a possible buyout. We've said it before. It probably just needs to happen now. You just kind of hate it. You think, with the way CM Punk came back, you talked about the first dance, the United Center, and all the, publicity that brought back, and the start with Darby Allin, the feud with MJF, the Moxley stuff, Eddie Kingston. I mean, it was quite a run. But yeah, it just seemed to, kind of sour as time went on, unfortunately. And I don't think there's any way you come back from what happened. I mean, time would tell, but unless you just keep these guys separating, the Young Bucks and Punk, or if they just let bygones be bygones somehow. But, what about the rest of the roster? What does the rest of the roster think of this? I think a lot of them were excited for CM Punk to come back and, kind of see what he could do. And, there was times, yeah, he looked a little rusty, but, that's 7 years out of the ring. I mean, that's expected. But, I thought he showed promise, and, you saw him as champion, and you felt like maybe he'd go against some of the younger talent like he talked about. It just kind of, just didn't seem to work out. And, where we go from here with him, I don't know. I think it's the end. There's talk, there's rumblings, there's, little tidbits of he could end up in WWE, Triple H. He's got a good head on his shoulders. He knows what the business means for Punk, and he knows what Punk means to the business, but I just don't see it. I think Punk did what he did there in AEW, brought it back, did what he did, and I think he'd be content now to kind of finish it. Unfortunately, I do think he doesn't want this to be his lasting legacy, known as a scrum in the backstage area. And, that ruined a good thing, unfortunately. I would hope, that's not how he would fall on his sword, as they say. But, then again, he could also think, what, this is it. I did what I came to do, and, things happened, and he kind of just moves on. I think Punk is that type as well, where, he could just see, okay, this is what it is. And, just kind of take my lumps, and, people could say what they want, and I'll just move ahead. So, maybe get back in the comic book writing, style stuff, or you'd have to wonder if he would do like the, comic convention, how would that come across, that type deal. But, I would be curious to see what he can do after this. I think there's options out there, I would hope. And wrestling might not be one of them, and definitely not MMA. It just seemed like that wasn't, the right fit for him. So, yeah, I think this is it, and when he's officially out, we'll kind of tie the ribbon on that, and it won't be a fun ribbon. It will not be a fun present to put away, I think, unfortunately. So, yeah, so that's kind of the news and notes I had this week, and let's do some quick Rogue Energy talk, and then we'll get right back with Raw and SmackDown talk. All right, so let's kind of look at Raw. We had the beginning. I love these beginnings. I kind of talked about it last week with SmackDown, and we had Drew McIntyre going after Karrion Kross. This week we had Lashley and Lesnar going at it, and all the locker room clears out to separate these guys, and we're going to see these two hosses go at it and at the Crown Jewel in Saudi Arabia on November 5th. So it'll be interesting which way they go. It's Lesnar. I still guess he's got some run left in him. But Lashley's been on such a tear. Lashley could probably use the win as well. So it really should be interesting which direction we go with this. So the OC picked up a win. So, the original club is back together with AJ Styles. They did get challenged to a match by Judgment Day. So we're going to see the Judgment Day and the OC go at it at Crown Jewel. I think what's also interesting to note there is Carl Anderson was booked to be at a New Japan match that day, but obviously WWE's a little higher calling, so he will not defend his open neverweight challenge or never open championship, whatever it is, for the New Japan Wrestling. So we'll kind of see if that ever, what becomes of that. But how about Mustafa Ali? I think this was definitely maybe a good run for him on Raw last Monday. We saw him interrupt Seth Rollins. We also saw him at the end of Raw, something I would have never imagined kind of seeing as far as that's concerned, seeing Ali get a chance to kind of really shine in a couple good spots. Does he take the title off Rollins? Probably not. But, I think it'd be nice to kind of see what Rollins and Ali can do. And if this really, is a true run for Ali. I think a lot of people forget Ali was scheduled to, be in that match against Daniel Bryan at WrestleMania 35, I think it was. Kofi Kingston ends up there. Ali gets taken out by injury. That puts up Kofi Kingston in the Elimination Chamber match, who wins it, but Ali was scheduled to win that. So, who's to say what Ali would be doing? But, it'll be interesting to see what Ali can do in this feud with Seth Rollins. I still think it's probably Cody Rhodes taking the U.S. title off of Rollins. I think that would be a lot of, full circle for Cody Rhodes. I feel like the United States Championship means a lot to him. Yes, he still probably needs the WWE or the Universal Championship, but I think, coming back, winning that U.S. title off Rollins, kind of coming full circle with that storyline is really where they want to go with that. So, but, Ali is still a good kind of foil for Seth. And, this is hopefully a good shot for Ali to show his worth, if he hasn't proved it already ring-wise. Now I think he's going to get a chance to kind of show on the mic-wise, where he can hold his own. How about Damage Control? Pick up a couple good wins this week. Defeated Bianca Belair and Candice LeRae. Also defeated Shotzi and Raquel Rodriguez. So, a lot of good wins for damage control this week. And I think I believe we're going to get, or we are going to get, sorry, Bailey and Bianca Belair this Raw. So we'll see, if Bailey picks up the win there to kind of get another shot. That's definitely interesting. Big Ben, how crazy Braun looks compared to Omos, and we'll talk about SmackDown and Omos hulking up like this, and just shoving Braun right out of the ring, which makes you wonder, which that's another one I think we'll be interested to see at Crown Jewel, which direction that goes, because either guy could probably win it and probably needs to win right now. But we also saw JBL on Raw in quite the big fitted suit. Very interesting that he is paired up with Baron Corbin. Yep, that Baron Corbin. I gotta believe this is kind of the last. I don't know if it's last try for Baron Corbin, but just hey, let's see what this does with JBL. I can't see Corbin get much of a push after this run with JBL, and I don't even know if it's going to work that well. I think the crowd was kind of meh about it, and I just don't. I think Corbin could talk for himself. He works in the ring, and then it just you just don't know. So I don't see the pairing really working out, especially with the way Baron, and hammering the wrestling god. I mean, yeah. I need Greg on here to help back me up on this because this just isn't working for me. But Baron Corbin did pick up a win. Big Ben, let's see what you got. Brock beats Bobby, then beats the head of the table. That could happen. Yeah, they could go that route. I just don't know if we haven't seen Brock beat Roman yet. I don't think Brock's to beat Roman at all. Roman is definitely on another level right now, and it's interesting to kind of see who will do that. We'll get Logan Paul at Crown Jewel. I mean, they're touting it as Logan Paul's got a lucky shot to hit him, but there ain't no way Logan Paul's beating Roman. So, we'll just kind of keep rolling and see what can go next as far as that's concerned. So, what else we got? Baron Corbin defeated Dolph Ziggler. Dominique. How about Dominic Mysterio? We had a couple good wins for the younger talent this week. Dominique got a big win on Raw, and my big thought there is Rey Mysterio better lay down for his son at WrestleMania. That's ultimately where I think this needs to go. Right now we got the Rey won't fight Dominique, but come WrestleMania time, that's where we got to go. And I don't know if you put Rey's mask on the line or you put Rey's career on the line or something, but if AJ Styles is going to lay down for Dominique, his dad, Rey Mysterio, better be laying down, shoulders to the mat, clean as a whistle. This did have little shenanigans. Rhea Ripley played a part. You still got to wonder, does the OC have somebody that can kind of back them up in this feud? Because I'm really not sure who can. I'm maybe Dana Brooke. I mean, that's really the only name out there, but it's not going to be Nikki Cross. It's not going to be Tamina. Not going to be Dewdrop. I mean, Dana's kind of the only name out there that really, sounds logical, and I guess we can go that route. But The Miz ambushed Dexter Lumis. So Dexter Lumis and Miz were supposed to have a match, which didn't happen. Johnny Gargano's out there. Maybe he's going to step in and fight The Miz, kind of get the contract for Dexter Lumis, it looks like, or we got to figure out what The Miz has on Dexter Lumis. I think that's the big story we're kind of pushing there. Elias returned, so we said, Elias coming back, got interrupted by Seth Rollins, and then Seth Rollins defeated Matt Riddle, really solid match. Everybody got taken out until Ali made the save, and like I said, this is kind of the Mustafa Ali coming out party, or starting the push for him to see what he can do. And it's been a long road for Ali, and I'll be interested to see if they really can, give him the full out push that he deserves. Madcap Moss. I have no idea what's going on with Madcap right now. I think Big Ben, they are resetting him. I think he's kind of in the backstage right now. And I wonder, yeah, I think he needs more airtime, but I also wonder if they want to figure out what they're actually going to do with him. Um, so, I thought the feud with Baron Corbin had a lot of promise for him. And once that went away, then they just didn't know what to do with him. So I I kind of wonder maybe after Survivor Series we see him, maybe Royal Rumble time, but it won't surprise me if we just don't see Madcap back for a little bit. Just don't know what they're going to do with him. So we're going to skip NXT because we just talked about Halloween Havoc, but we'll kind of get to SmackDown talk since this is what Madcap Moss is on there, and like I said, I'm not really sure what they're doing with Madcap right now. I think I agree. I think I'd like to see more airtime, but at the same time, who is he? What's he about? What are they going to do with him? So, like I said, I just don't see him on TV anytime soon right now. So, Solo Sokoa, sorry, got a big win over Sheamus. I think that's huge for Solo. I think that the backstage really has a lot of faith in him, and I think he could be better than the Usos. Honestly, if pushed right, if done right, and it's going to be a really good climb for him to kind of move up the ladder. So Bray Wyatt, kind of the Bray Wyatt show as well. We saw a backstage segment with him, saying whatever happens isn't on me, it's on somebody else. And also in the little teaser vignette we saw, there's a quick shot of some character looking with a big mustache, this white or blondish mustache, and very interested to see who that could be. I think we got to debut that person sooner rather than later as well. So we'll kind of see, where this is going with Bray Wyatt. I think it's a lot of people said more intriguing than usual, and I think that's saying a lot. So this is really going to be interesting to see where Bray Wyatt's going and what's he all about this time. So Sonya Deville and Liv Morgan into the double count out. I think we're going to keep seeing them go at it in this downward spiral with Liv Morgan. I don't think she'll turn into Alexa Bliss, but maybe more AJ Lee type crazy. WWE loves our crazy ladies, as you can tell. So we'll kind of see. I know Greg was not on board with Liv Morgan. Kind of curious if anything lately has done it for Greg and Liv Morgan and where she's going, but. Her and Sonya is a good kind of mid-tier feud to kind of get Liv to where she's going to be at. So Almost and Braun Strowman will head together. Once again, a big old hoss fight at Crown Jewel. I'm going to assume Almost gets the win there. What's surprising if we get a little bit back and forth, maybe a few matches with these guys, because maybe, the writing's on the wall that we're not sure what to do with either of these two either. So we'll kind of see there. I brought up Dakota Kai and Io Sky picked up a win over Raquel and Shotzi. Damage control's rolling along. Rey Mysterio picked up a win. And we had Logan Paul in the night. Uh-oh, I got a big sneeze coming. I'm sorry. Need a mute camera for that. Logan Paul came out, talked about his one lucky shot. He lands it on Jey Uso. Sami Zayn tries to stop him. I still think it's going to end up with Sami kicked out of the bloodline. Maybe Jey somehow gets kicked out, maybe as a swerve, but I still think Sami's going to cost them somehow. Jey will be back in the right, and all will be well with the bloodline. And, we're going to need somebody to back up Sami, and that should be Kevin Owens. So Logan Paul and Roman should be something to watch at, Crown Jewel, to kind of see where they go there. But, right now it's hard telling, like I said, who's going to go after Roman, because there's not a lot of names for Roman. So let's do some next elite performance commercial talk and get into some AEW talk. And definitely in for information or interesting stuff there with John Moxley and Hangman Adam Page and the match they had. We'll have to definitely get into that. And we'll be right back after this quick commercial break. All right, so AEW Dynamite talk. That Triangle defeated Best Friends in Orange Cassidy. The big story here is, Pac is trying to cheat again, and this time Lucha Bros kind of stopped it. So you got to wonder if that does mean we're seeing the end of the Death Triangle sooner rather than later. We do have Orange Cassidy as our current All Atlantic champion, and maybe Pac does get that back from him by cheating somewhere down the road. But that triangle looks to a little bit of fracturing, with Lucha Bros trying to win the right way, but then you have Pac the Bastard trying to win the wrong way. So we'll kind of see where that goes. Tony Storm defeated Hikaru Shida. We also saw Rio back. We saw Britt Baker involved. We saw Jamie Hayter. We're going to get Jamie Hayter and Rio going one-on-one. Good to see Rio back. Just another, woman that we can add to the roster. MJF and William Regal had a really interesting back and forth. You had MJF bringing up an email from William Regal that, he's always held on to. You had William Regal saying, hey, if that's what it took to get you, to get you where you need to be, then that was all worth it. So we also saw MJF step at the end and kind of where he's headed there. So Jericho defeated Dalton Castle. This is kind of one of my few times I've seen Dalton Castle, and the guy's a lot bigger than you would think and a lot stronger. So, I'd like to see more of him. I think he's got a character, obviously. The crowd kind of loves him. He's definitely Ring of Honor-esque. So, be interested to see if they use him more often. And finally, we saw John Moxley defeat Adam Page via referee stoppage. So Moxley hits a big clothesline that unfortunately does end Adam Page. Concusses him, give him concussion, or at least he was in concussion protocol. But we'll see. Hopefully, Adam Page is healthy sooner rather than later. MJF comes out, attempts to cash in, and then says, nope, I'm doing it the way I want to do it, which is going to be at Full Gear. And I think MJF wins the title there. I think it just makes a lot of sense to give MJF the title, let him run with it, and, we'll see finally what MJF is all about as champion. So we also saw, some stuff on Rampage. The Acclaim won. They got their trademark back so they can scissor again, whatever. I thought you would have played that out a little bit longer than a week or two, but hey, here it is. Hook wins. Will Nightingale wins. The big story there is Willow Nightingale is now officially AEW star all elite, so she'll be on AEW officially going forward. And Orange Cassidy picks up a win over Roosh and Preston. 10 of Dark Order. You do wonder if the Dark Order ends up with 10. Maybe they, Andrade's gone soon, I'm guessing. So that, puts in the spot that Preston can slide in from their Dark Order. So nothing left for the last call. I kind of hoping Greg would have came back a little bit earlier, but, delays are delays. So that happens. And, we will get Greg back next week, but I think that's all I got for today. And we'll talk to you guys next week, and we'll catch up with Greg and all that good stuff.